What up guys, great to have you back. Adobe Lightroom just launched the new Lightroom Classic update for 2024, and in this video we're going to have a look at what's new, but particularly at the end of the video I'm going to show you what is the feature I think you're going to like most. The first thing we're going to look at today is lens blur that Lightroom added to the new 2024 version. It's an early access, therefore like a beta, and unfortunately it makes Lightroom quite slow depending obviously on your PC speed. To access it, go to develop, go to lens blur, and then there's a little apply button which you can toggle. If you take it all the way to the left, your blur amount slider, it will take it away, and all the way to the right it will add a lot of blur. The next thing they've added is like a bokeh. I haven't played with it yet, but I guess it will work better for a nighttime scene, maybe a cityscape or event with fairy lights in the background. It also has like a boost slider to add that. Then they've added the focal range at the bottom here. I'm not going to say much about it. Later in the video I'm going to show you a different photo to which you will understand this focal range thing a bit better. But what I can show you now is that that little black dot is where the lens blur will focus, or what it would put into focus, and if I change that you will see immediately my model will go out of focus completely. This is where Lightroom does suffer a bit of speed, so be patient with it. But to put it back on my model, they've added a subject focus button which I quite like, and if you click on it, it snaps back on your subject and it brings it back into focus. You can also draw a little square by using the point area focus button, by just drawing that square, and it will also focus on it. I do, however, feel like the subject one works better. If you click on it, it just snaps back. They've also added two brushes, which I'm very happy about, because the selection Lightroom makes isn't always that accurate. So if I zoom into this image, you will see there's a bit of a problem here with the selection and the blur between her hand and her back. And if I use the blur brush, I can now brush in between her hand and her back, and I can also change the amount, the feathering, and the flow of it to make a perfect job. I'm not going to do it now just for the time's sake of the video, but you can also use the focus brush by clicking on it. You can see the table here. The selection wasn't great and the table is out of focus, and we want to bring that table back into focus. And how great is that? Different image. I'm going to show you now how the focal range works. The first thing I'm going to do is press O on my keyboard to show you the mask that it creates, so that you can see where the blur is. You'll see three little like towers here, and each tower has a different color and represents a different part in the image. You can see the yellow is obviously the foreground here, then the pinkish color is where the bride and the groom is, and then the super pink is where the vehicle is and sort of the edge of the bushes here, and then the purple part is in the background there, the bush. Now obviously we want to focus on the bride and groom, and I'm going to pull the bar to the right a bit, and there you can see it grabs the focus of the bride and groom. You can also use the handles here on the left and right to make the selection smaller. Now when you pull it on the one side, that little circle will change and you will have to bring it back to the middle. You can also click on the subject select, but I have found now that it doesn't always work that perfect, so do it manually. It just is better. Then I'm going to press O again so that you can see what it actually created. It's going to take maybe a second or two. There we go. And I'm now going to take the blur amount all the way to the right to like really increase it. And when we zoom in, let's have a look at what Lightroom actually did. Did quite a good selection. Here's a bit of an issue here on the right, but again you can fix that with the blur or focus brushes that we spoke about earlier. We all know the HSL sliders in Lightroom use saturation and luminance. We've been using it for quite some time, and it's nice to refine colors, to be creative with colors, play with your presets, and get a desired look that you want. However, Lightroom has now added in the color mixer also what they call point color, and then they added an eyedropper. You take the eyedropper and click on the color that you want. It then creates a color swatch for you. You can actually use it again and create another swatch and another one for the ranges that you want to work with. Let's go for that first range and see what the big bar does. So this big box, if you go left and right, it changes the hue, and as you go up and down, it changes the saturation. Double click on it, it resets it. On the right, there's another bar, small one, that's your luminosity. Again, double click if you want to reset it. You can also go down to these sliders here and change them individually if you don't want to use these boxes at the top. You also have a range here, a visualize range. If you click on it, you can see if you take it up, it will work with more colors in that range, or if you take it down, less colors. That said, the problem here is if you pull down, for example, the hue or the saturation, it selects not only the top she's wearing, but also these benches and other things in the image. I have a solution for it. So I've resetted the point color because I want to show you guys a different way of doing it. And the way I'm doing it is by creating a mask, then go to the person, wait for it to pop down, and then click on clothes only and create the mask. And from there, and this is what's so incredible about what Lightroom has done, is they've put point color within the masks. Now again, take the eyedropper, click on the color that you want to use, and from there on you can now play with the color of her clothes, and it will not affect the rest of the image. You can also play again with the range and everything else. I do, however, want to show you one or two more examples in different images. Different image, and I want to show you guys what you can do with a sky and this point color. So first thing I'm going to do is do a mask on the sky, and then once I've done that, I'm going to take dehaze, because I like using dehaze on the sky to get a bit more dramatic feel, and then also use contrast. And then from there, I'm gonna now take the point color, click on it, and work with the color. So I want actually a bit more bluish vibe. So let's have a look, search for the most blue type of selection. I think that one is good for me. And now I'm gonna pull down the luminosity and look at what's happening. Now, if you do it obviously too much, it's gonna create a problem. But you can also change the range. So you can make the range a bit less, or you can make it more, depending on the image. I'm, however, going to pull it back quite a bit so it doesn't hurt my image and make it blend in a bit more. Let me show you the before and the after. It's very subtle, but it works a charm. Hope you liked the video. Click on this video to see 5 crucial lighting types for your portrait photography. Cheers.